Hey, what's up, everybody? Back with another horror movie review. And last time I did Creepshow, so I figure this time I'll do Creepshow 2. I just watched it the other night. It's from 1987, obviously the sequel to Creepshow from 1982. Well, the original was directed by George Romero and written by Stephen King. This one was directed by Michael Gornick, who has worked with George Romero previously on Dawn of the Dead and Day of the Dead, and it was written by George Romero. But they're still based on stories written by Stephen King. Um, there's some debate about that. Uh, the first and last story, Old Chief Woodenhead and The Hitchhiker, uh, there's a debate whether they're written by Stephen King or George Romero. But this says based on stories by Stephen King, so we have to assume that's what it is. There's only 3 stories in this one, as opposed to 5 in the original Creepshow. There's, like I said, Old Chief Woodenhead, The Raft, and The Hitchhiker. There are supposed to be 2 more stories. There's supposed to be 5 originally. Whoa, my hair's sticking out right here. What the hell? It's supposed to be 5 originally. The 3 I mentioned, including a story called Pinfall, and one called Cat from Hell. Because of budgetary reasons, they had to get rid of those ones. They ended up filming Cat from Hell later on for Tales from the Dark Side, the movie, which was another anthology movie based on the TV show Tales from the Dark Side. It's another really cool movie. I'm probably going to do that one too. Um, yeah, that's all I got to really say about the making of it. It was budgetary reasons cut down to 3 stories. So, I'll get to the stories and the actors. The prologue features, it's a cartoon. Well, part of it's a cartoon. There's a kid that is waiting for his delivery of the Creepshow comic book, and there's a van up in a truck, and there's a guy in the truck, really creepy guy they call the Creep, who's actually played by Tom Savini, who I mentioned back in the review for the original Creepshow. He did all the effects. Him and a 17-year-old kid did all the effects for Creepshow, which is crazy. And he played the Creep, and Jill Silver played the voice of the Creep in that. So that was the prologue, the introduction. Old Chief Woodenhead is the first story. There's a couple played by George Kennedy and Dorothy Lamour. George Kennedy you might know from, well, I know him from the Naked Gun movies. And Dorothy Lamour, it was actually her last film role. She had been in the Road to movies back in the day with Bob Hope and Bing Crosby. So she had been around a while. This was her last movie role before she died. And they play Ray and Martha Spruce, I think. Yeah. And they own a shop in this town, a once thriving town that's dying. Everyone's moving away. And she's trying to get him to, sell the store. He doesn't want to sell the store. And eventually, he's got a big statue of a Native American Indian outside his store that he takes care of it, he paints it, and these people come to rob the store. Actually, first there's this friend of his that comes that he lends money to a bunch of people. It's one of the things his wife complains about, and this friend of his who's also a Native American comes by and gives him these old jewels, I guess. They were part of their tribe. And he said, these are yours until we can pay you back. So, and then he gets robbed by these 3 people. And the leader of these people is the son of the guy that gave him the jewels. And they're planning on stealing everything, going to Hollywood. And the main guy is planning on being an actor. So they rob him. They end up killing Ray and Martha. And I'm not sure if it's the jewels or what happens, but the Indian statue comes to life, hunts them down, and kills them. That's what happens in the story. It's pretty cool. I enjoyed it. It's not like the best thing in the world, but I enjoyed it. It was a cool story. I'd really like to know if Stephen King wrote this. I'd like to see it pop up in some book or something, the short story, if he did. Um, but the second story, The Raft, is my favorite one because this is undoubtedly a Stephen King story. It appeared in the short story collection Skeleton Crew, 1985, I believe. Basically, these kids, young adults, they want to go party. They go to this lake where there's this raft. They swim out to the raft. There's a blob of something in the water that the one kid notices is eating like a duck or some sort of bird. And they get out to the raft, and he's worried. Because he saw that, he tells the girls, hurry up and get on the raft. Because this thing starts moving towards them. And basically what happens is the thing starts eating them one by one. And it's really cool. I really enjoyed it. I like the short story a lot too. Some of the stuff they did, like the one guy who keeps the jock guy. He when he gets eaten, he gets pulled down through the bottom of the raft, and one of his legs comes up all the way up to here. It's just imagining how that must feel is crazy. But the end, the kid that's left, there's a kid and a girl that's left. He's like making out with the girl, and the thing grabs the girl through the raft. I'm not sure if he did that on purpose, so the blob would grab him. I think in the short story, he does do it on purpose. The thing grabs her and starts eating her, and so while it's distracted, he jumps off the raft and swims to shore, and he gets to shore and he yells at the thing. He's like, I beat you, and then the thing comes up and eats him. He didn't get away. So yeah, and the thing kind of looked like a garbage bag, but it was effective. I enjoyed it a lot. Okay, The Hitchhiker, the last story. This lady is having an affair. Well, I don't know if she's having an affair. I think it might be a gigolo she's sleeping with. But she's late to get home. She's trying to get home to her husband so he doesn't suspect anything. She accidentally hits the guy who's hitchhiking, and she pulls a hit and run. She leaves him there. She drives off. And the rest of the story is basically the hitchhiker guy, the guy she hit, keeps showing up on her car, trying to get at her, telling her thanks for the ride, lady, over and over again. And she keeps hitting him again and hitting him again. And he keeps getting more disgusting looking. And it gets to a point where, earlier on, I forgot to mention earlier on, when she first hits the guy and drives away, there's people gathered around the guy, being like, oh my god, someone got hit, we gotta call 911. There's a truck driver that pulls over, it starts putting out some flares, and the truck driver is Stephen King. So that's pretty sweet. He shows up in Creepshow and Creepshow 2. So that's pretty sweet. But yeah, she keeps hitting the guy. It gets to a point where they're in the woods, and she keeps hitting him up against a tree. And she passes out, and she wakes up, and the guy's not there anymore. She thinks maybe this was a dream, and she got in an accident, and she had this dream. So she drives home, and the guy is there and gets her at home. So that's the movie. I do like this movie. I actually think it's really good, really well made. I wish there was more stories to it. It seems like it goes by really fast. But I think I prefer the first Creepshow just because there was more stories. But I think the production value on this one might be a little better. I don't know. But if they could have had the other two stories, that would have been sweet. But then Cat from Hell wouldn't have been a Tales from the Dark Side of the movie. Who knows if that movie would have been any good. But yeah, I'd give this like probably an 8 out of 10. I really enjoyed it. It's not as cheesy as the first one, and not saying that's a good thing. I enjoyed the cheesiness of the first one. But yeah, I would, like I said, I wish there was more stories in it. It seems a little short, but the stories they do have are good and entertaining and well done. I like it. So that's Creepshow 2. Gonna do some more horror movie reviews. I know all the ones I've done so far have been relating at least to Stephen King. And this weekend on Netflix, 1922 comes out based on Stephen King novella. So I'll probably be doing that one too, but I'm going to try like hell to get something that don't have anything to do with Stephen King in here. I'm planning on watching The Witch soon, so everyone tells me it's scary. So I'm going to check it out. It better be scary, because every time someone tells me a movie's scary, like Insidious, for example, or The Babadook, they're not scary. They don't scare me at all. Insidious, I just thought was a bad movie. Babadook was a good movie, but it just wasn't scary to me. But yeah, I'll get to some more movies. So check out Creepshow 2. It's good. Check out the first Creepshow. It's even better in my opinion. Have a great day, everybody. Happy Halloween.